I don't know if this is like widely underrated, and my assumption is it might not be. But it wasn't something that was a part of my workflow. And then when I added it to my workflow, it changed everything. The quality of stuff that I was able to make just orders of magnitude higher. And that is a CNC machine. There's a large variety of different types of CNC machines you can get, both in size and price. I have a smaller tabletop one that I got from a company called Shapeoko. They're a small business in San Diego. They make these pretty awesome, they're not that large and they're not that expensive machines. And if you don't know what a CNC is, it's like a 3D printer, but instead of adding material, squirting out plastic that it heats up, it has a cutting bit on it and it cuts away. It's not additive manufacturing, it's subtractive manufacturing. And what is just crazy to me is I can draw a shape on a computer. I can create some design in Photoshop, convert it to a vector, and then cut that shape out in wood. And it's like perfect. Like the circles are perfect, the measurements are exact, and being able to create little Lego pieces on a computer and then cut them out is just crazy. That is really awesome. Using a CNC machine for its assumed purpose of just cutting wood is really useful. However, there's been a few uses of it that have just absolutely blown my mind. One is using it as an engraver. You can change the bit out to a very sharp little diamond that scratches things like brass and acrylic. And you can program it to, instead of like spinning and cutting, to just like scratch into surfaces. Boom, I put a piece of acrylic down there. Now I can engrave onto the top of acrylic, and then you side light it and it looks beautiful. It looks like those big maps like in Star Wars where it's semi-transparent, but then like the light catches all of the frosted details. So cool. Doing that with the CNC machine. Another thing is I made for Big Brain Labs, we had to make a bunch of curved monitors, like old retro looking TVs. And this is a problem that I know a lot of other creators have had because I've talked to them. How do you create an old retro looking CRT style monitor without just going and buying an old CRT style monitor? Can you fake that screen and use like an HD LCD screen monitor that you get it off Amazon or at Best Buy for like $100? Can you do it? And I couldn't find a whole lot of information of people that had successfully done it. So I was like, I'll try to figure this out on my own. I'm going to create a vacuum forming machine, which if you don't know what that is, they're typically not something you can buy. They sometimes make commercial ones, but they're really, really expensive. If you're interested in it, it's not that difficult and not that expensive for you to just make one yourself for like $200 and like an afternoon. There's many, many videos on YouTube that you can look up that'll show you how to do it. That's what I did. I found a video and I made one. What it is it's two parts. One part is a heater that heats up a piece of plastic. And I went and I bought like an outdoor infrared heater from Lowe's, and I use that to heat up my plastic. And the other part is the vacuum forming table, which looks like it's an air hockey table. It's a piece of wood with a bunch of holes in it, and air flows through it. But instead of blowing air out, it sucks the air down. So it's an air hockey table you hook up a vacuum to. And so what you do is you heat up your plastic so that way it gets soft. It's not totally melted, but it's soft. And then you create a basically a blank that is this 3D object that you can put on your vacuum forming table. And then when you take your soft heated up plastic and you put it over that and you turn it on, it sucks out all the air and it pulls the plastic down and creates this really, really accurate mold of that shape that you had put on there. And then the plastic cools and now you've cast this shape. So what I did is I went to my CNC machine, and CNCs are able to do some degree of 3-dimensional carving. It's not just totally 2-dimensional. Like for depending on the machine you have, like 3 to 4 inches depth, you can carve 3D things. I had it carve out this big curved rounded 16 by 9 monitor shape, and I heated up a piece of acrylic and I vacuum formed it around that. And like, boom, now I've got this perfectly rounded domed screen, this acrylic piece I can put over my monitor. And then, hey, I've already cut out this shape. Why don't I go back to my CNC and then I cut out a frame that perfectly matches that profile that I had just cut out. And then I did that. And then it's like, okay, I'm using my CNC to like make these molds for the vacuum forming. I'm using the CNC to like cut out these frames. I'm using them to like etch plastic. It's crazy. I feel like I don't even know all of the ways that I can use a CNC machine. I've been able to make the coolest stuff that I just can't even believe that I made because of that. And it does so much. It does so many different things. So if you don't have one of those on your radar, I'd say it's just as, if not more useful for escape rooms than 3D printing is, which is crazy. I'm a huge 3D printing evangelist. I love 3D printers. Half of my games are 3D printed. And I still think that the CNC machine, if I had to pick one, I'd pick the CNC machine over a 3D printer.